All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Kachalis, and I'm the Director of Strategic Insights for Progressive Business Media. And I'm going to be your host for today's webinar, focusing on how to successfully collect hundreds of online reviews. We have a lot of great insights to cover on the webinar, and I'm very excited to introduce our speakers for today. But before we get started, there are just a couple housekeeping items I'd like to go over. During the webinar, if you have any questions, please submit them in the questions section in the panel on the right-hand side of your screen. At the end of the webinar, we'll take about 10 to 15 minutes to answer your questions. If at any point you're having technical problems during the webinar, we ask you to please try logging out, logging back in, or send a question in the chat box where a member of our technical team can answer your questions. And then finally, if you miss a segment of today's registered webinar, we ask you to please, there will be a recording link at the end of the presentation for all attendees to take a look at. All right, now that that's covered, I'd like to introduce our speakers. Our first speaker is John Eyre. John is currently serving as a product marketing manager at Podium. He's a skilled customer and content marketer with nearly 10 years experience working for high-tech firms like Altris, Symantec, LivePerson, and SmartLink. He's comfortable writing for both consumer and B2B audiences and has an uncanny ability to take complex subjects and make them more accessible. Our second speaker for today is Nick Miller. Nick comes from the customer experience background, having consulted and built customer experience programs with businesses ranging from local retailers to Fortune 1000 companies. He currently head a retail division for Podium, who services over 15,000 local businesses to help them get found, get chosen, and get connected to their consumers online. A husband of nearly 10 years and father of 3 children, Nick spends his free time with his family traveling, skiing, and exploring the outdoors. All right, we're now ready to get started. John, I'm going to be opening up the webinar for you to begin your presentation.
Well, thanks for having us. Welcome to today's webinar, Stand Out in the Crowd, how to successfully collect hundreds of reviews. So to start out with, I just want to, pose this question. How easy is it right now for potential customers to find your business when searching for you online? If you're not showing up in the top 3 of Google's listings or in their map pack, the answer to that question is probably not very easy. Selling furniture is a competitive business, so if you want to stand out in the crowd and be there when the customers need you most, you need to be optimized for local SEO. So in today's webinar, we're going to talk about best practices for improving your local SEO ranking and what you need to do, what you can do to collect more online reviews. And if you've ever been on one of our webinars, we like to give you, things that you can implement today that will improve your business. So we're going to give you some tips at the end. Nick will provide you with those. So that's just my pitch to help you to want to stay on the end so you get those sweet tips from Nick. So as was mentioned, my name is John Eyre. I'm a product marketing manager here at Podium. I spend a lot of my time looking for new and interesting ways businesses that we work with are using their online reputation to drive new sales and then just improve their overall experience. And Nick Miller is joining me. He's a VP of Retail, or VP of Sales of our retail team at Podium. He brings a wealth of knowledge in the CX space, as was mentioned. So definitely listen to him and what he has to say. So, sorry, already on the agenda slide. I just got the itchy finger there. So today we're going to discuss the difference between local and organic search. We're going to talk a little bit about what micro moments and near me searches are and how they can be used to increase foot traffic to your business. We'll also give you tips and tricks for boosting your local SEO, and finally go over how online reviews touch every aspect of the customer journey and what you can do to build your online presence on the sites that matter most to your business. So how do you put your business on the map? And as I mentioned, the map we're talking about today is Google's map pack. The key, at least according to us, what we're going to talk about today, the key to showing up high on that map pack is optimizing your listings and your business for local search. So most people, especially if you work in marketing or have a business with a website, have heard of search engine optimization. But do you really know what it means? So I'll just run through like a quick overview of what the difference between organic and local search is. Organic search results are based on the relevance of content to the user's search terms. This is how search engines land up, one of the leading voices out there about SEO. This is how they define it. It's the process of getting traffic from free, organic, editorial, or natural search results on search engines. The key phrase in that definition, at least to me, is the word free. While it's true you don't have to pay for organic or natural search, it will take a lot of work and effort on your part to earn that free traffic. So local search, it takes on many of the same parameters that make up organic search, but then serves up results not only based on the relevance, but also a number of geographic factors. So it's important that you be optimized for both, but in today's presentation, we're going to focus mainly on the things you can do to improve your local search. So today's consumer, they're more and more valuing convenience than over business relationships. So what that means is they're no longer going to be loyal to you just for loyalty's sake. And that's why you need to optimize your local SEO strategy to make it as easy as possible for customers to find you. Recent changes to Google's search algorithm have given more weight to near me searches as well. In fact, according to an informal study conducted by Search Engine Land, non-branded keyword searches for generic terms like accountant or bank or furniture store auto-completed to near me nearly 90% of the time. So if you typed in furniture store, it would the autocomplete would be near me after that. And that happened, like I said, 90% of the time on desktop and 78% of the time on mobile. And these near me searches are searches when customers are actively looking for businesses in their area. And these searches typically occur when the customer has the intent to buy. So being able to show up when they're conducting these near me searches is very important because it could lead to new business for you. Now, near me searches on mobile devices are significantly accelerating the purchase process. Individuals can quickly go from the awareness or investigation phase to the decision phase in a matter of minutes because the access to information is more readily available to them, and buyers know what they want now more than ever. So these searches are more targeted. And that online search behavior is changing significantly. And as we've mentioned, it's becoming increasingly mobile. And they're also being dominated by what Google refers to as micro moments. These are times when searchers want to know, they want to go, they want to buy something. And just to illustrate this point of what a micro moment is, just wanted to share an example of one that happened to me not too long ago. So a while back, I was in the market for a new car. I live in Utah, and sometimes the winters here can be a little harsh. So I wanted to find something that was all-wheel drive, but still had good gas mileage. So I'm just conducting the search on my phone, probably while I'm at work, just looking for a new car. And over time, I zeroed in on the Subaru Outback. So once I found out what car I wanted to buy, I needed to dig deeper and find out where I wanted to buy that. So I started looking at online reviews for dealerships, looking at which ones had the best reviews, which ones had the most reviews. And quickly I went from knowing what car I wanted to buy to actually being at the dealership, I think probably in the same day once I decided, what the type of car I wanted to buy. So that, like I said, that process happens fairly quickly, and I conducted most of that research on my phone. And when consumers are experiencing these micro moments, they want their questions answered immediately. So if your business isn't optimized to be there when the customers have these questions, you could miss out on building relationships with these customers, or even worse, you could lose out on a potential sale. A recent post on Think with Google discussed some of the best ways that micro moments, some of the ways that you can identify micro moments for your business and win them. And there's so many different times in the sales process where people are searching that you can take advantage of. You just need to decide which ones are going to be worth your time. So the first one I want to talk about just involves people when they're just out. They're out the weekend is coming up. I recently bought a new house, and I'm in the market to buy new furniture. So I'm going to be out looking for where to buy a couch. I really want to get a nice sectional, but I don't know where I want to buy it. I kind of have an idea of what the price point I'm looking at and the type of couch I want. So I'm going to be searching for sectionals near me or best furniture store near me. So when you're optimizing for these micro moments, you're going to want to focus on the keyword, which would be couch or furniture, and then your geography. So you want it to be associated with where your business is located, whether that be the city or neighborhood or region or whatever. You want to make sure that you're focusing on those, both the keywords and the location. So another good thing about those mobile searches, like I said, I'm going to be going out looking for couches this weekend. And 50% of mobile searches now, they result in an in-store visit within 24 hours, compared to 34% on a computer or tablet, and 18% of those searches result in a purchase within 1 day. So that's another reason why it's important to be optimized for these mobile searches and for these micro moments, because these are happening when people really, really are motivated to make a purchase. Another thing you can do is to identify some of the top questions that customers are asking related to your business, and use them to create content tailored to those questions that you can optimize for. So for a furniture store, for example, might optimize for maybe like how to mount a TV or picking the right couch. What you can do is you can write a short blog answering that question, or maybe put up a short video on YouTube that shows what you need to do in those situations, and then just fill the descriptions of those things with keywords that are important to your business. So this helps you show up more in search local organic searches, because you're focusing on building that organic traffic. So finally, the thing you want to do is find out how customers are getting to your business. Are they finding you online? Is it word of mouth? And then just map out the journey your customer takes and identify specific moments along that journey to reach out with them. And this can help you better optimize your overall marketing strategy as well, to ensure that your messaging that you're delivering will push them from that awareness phase to purchase. So now that we know why local search is important, let's talk about some of the easy things you can implement today to improve your local search. So on this slide, this talks about a lot of the things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to go bullet by bullet through most of these. The key thing is optimizing your business, your directory listings online. So it's not enough to just claim that listing. You need to take control of your online presence by actively managing those. And claiming your business listings is super easy, but a lot of businesses fail to do so. In a recent study by Brand Muscle, it showed that 56% of local retailers had not claimed their listing on Google My Business. And it was surprising to me that the number was so high, because most people are hitting Google up when they're looking for a new business to work with. And the other thing that was crazy to me is Google My Business listing is free, so why wouldn't you take advantage of these free tools that are going to help you grow your business? So the process for claiming directory listings is fairly consistent across most of these sites. But for the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to walk you through how to claim and set up your listing on Google My Business. The first thing you want to do is navigate to business.google.com and click Start Now. You're going to want to search for your business by its name and address. Then they'll want to go through a verification process to confirm that you're actually the right person who should be managing this page. And to verify your business, Google is going to send you a postcard with a pin on it in a few days. And once you receive that card, you'll log into your account, enter the PIN, and you'll have full access to manage that page. If you need any help doing this, we've got a really detailed blog post that will help you. If you want to just ask for that, we can send that to you. But Google and Facebook, they're just the tips of the iceberg for online business directories. There's so many other directories out there that you can take advantage of. You just need to take the time to identify which are the right ones for your customers. It's going to be different for every business, so that's why, when you're closing out the sale, maybe ask how they found you, and then that'll help you, whittle it down beyond Google and Facebook. So once you've decided on which sites to focus on, and you've claimed them, you need to do some things to optimize them. I'll run through some of those things. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have consistent contact information. And according to Moz, which is it's a website that is really a good resource if you're looking to improve search engine optimization. What they say is the consistency of your name, address, and phone number, commonly known as NAP, is one of the major factors in where a business ranks in local search. But the question that we often get is well, what is the right format for my name, address, and phone number? How should I put it so that it's going to land higher on Google? And there isn't one way that's the most correct. The key is just consistency. So here are just a few tips we have to make sure that you have that consistent formatting. So with your name, this one's going to be the easiest, the one that you have the most control over. Just pick how you want your name to be listed. Like if you're an LLC, do you want to include that in there or whatever? Just make sure that whichever name you choose to go by online is the same name across all your different listings. With your address, while most search engines probably aren't going to penalize you if you have small inconsistencies, like if you don't abbreviate the word like street, if that changes, that might not be a problem, but it's better to be safe than sorry and make sure that you're just listing your address the same over time and on all your listings. So in this situation for your address, we like to think of what would Google do. And what I mean by that is before committing to an address format, open up Google Maps on your smartphone or your desktop and enter your business's address. Whatever format your address is, when Maps returns these results for your search, that's the format we suggest using. You can also do the similar thing on the U.S. Postal Service website. You just want to make sure that you're using that same address across all of your different listings. Finally, your phone number. Now, businesses nowadays typically have a ton of different phone numbers, so it's important for you to decide which one you want associated with your online listings. Do you want to use your front desk number? Do you want to direct customers to a service line? Should you use your local or toll-free number? It doesn't matter really. Just make sure that each time you use it in an online listing or in your footer that you're using the same one, and this will help drive you up the local search rankings. So the next thing that you can do to improve your local search ranking is by uploading high quality photos. Photos are important because they help to tell a visual story about your business. They let customers and potential customers see what it's like to do business with you, so they know what to expect when they arrive. Uploading pictures will also draw searchers in and encourage them to click through to your listing. According to Google, profiles with pictures see 42% more requests for driving directions for maps and 35% more click-throughs to your website than businesses that don't. Photos also help increase engagement. According to a study by Yelp, users spend 2.5 times more time on profiles with pictures than profiles that don't have pictures. And so what you'll want to upload is you'll want to include pictures of like what does the outside of your business look like, what does your showroom look like, maybe include pictures of your inventory, pictures of your employees interacting with customers. These are things that are going to draw people in over businesses that don't necessarily have those photos. So lastly, before I turn it over to Nick, the last thing we recommend doing to improve your local search ranking is collecting online reviews. And the thing with online reviews, they have a dual benefit of not only boosting your local SEO, but helping to influence purchase decisions and give your business more credibility with customers. At Podium, we've helped thousands of businesses optimize their online presence and reputation through online reviews. And as a result, we've developed a tried and true method for increasing the quality, quantity, recency, and frequency of your online reviews, all of which play a role in where your businesses rank according to Google's local search algorithm. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nick to give you a little more detail on online reviews.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Again, we're excited to be on with you. Hopefully everyone's still with us. We're going to go through, again, just some tips and some tricks for online reviews, because John laid out, look, you want to be there when your customers are looking for you. And in 2018, they are looking for you on their phones and through Google searches. And if you're not optimized to be there first, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. But just as important as being there first or showing up at the top is telling a very compelling story about why they should call you, why they should visit your website, why they should take that next step to come into your store. And if you're not telling a very compelling story, or if your customers aren't telling a very compelling story, then again, you are missing out on opportunity to win that business. So let's talk about just, first of all, how online reviews impact that local search ranking that John was talking about. So what are the things that Google is looking for that makes those reviews so important when it comes to just how you show up on Google? So if we were to kind of break down that local search ranking algorithm into very simple terms, and there's a lot that goes into it, but you could break it out like this. And one would be relevance, which is basically, do those keywords match up to what that person is looking for? So if I search for a dining room set near me, or best place to buy a dining room set, I'm not going to get Home Depot, I'm not going to get a grocery store, because Google is basing it off those local search terms. Just those relevant search terms. So number one is just relevance. That's pretty straightforward. Number two is distance. So Google will base this on a number of different things. They'll base it off of near me searches. If you just say best place to buy a couch near me, they're going to look for that desktop's IP address, or they're going to look for the GPS on the phone. Or if I type in a specific city, then they'll default to that. So if I say best place to buy a sofa in Salt Lake City, then it will default to Salt Lake. So that distance does play a factor in those local search rankings. And lastly is prominence. And this is where those reviews come into play. Like, is your business reviewed regularly? Are they talking about your business? Are Google users uploading photos about your business? And they like to see that activity. And all of that activity that your users could be posting about you to them, to Google, makes you a more relevant business to show. There's four things in particular that you want to be aware of when it comes to Google reviews and how it impacts your local search ranking. Most businesses I talk to, the kind of the most obvious thing they look at is the star rating. And sometimes we feel like we kind of have it nailed down because we have a good star rating. So maybe we're 4.5 and above. So we feel like we're doing okay in reviews and we don't need to do much else. But that's not really what Google looks for. What they look for is going to be these four things. So recency. So did you get some reviews today, or has it been a few months since you've had a lot of reviews? They look at frequency. Are they coming in multiple times a day, multiple times a week, multiple times a month? They're looking at quality. And for Google, they're not necessarily looking for star rating. They're looking for content. So what they like to see is that someone is giving you a 4-star, but they're also explaining why you got that review. And then obviously quantity is a big one. So to win the review game, when it comes to local SEO, you focus on recency, frequency, quality, and quantity, and you'll be in really good shape. We talked about just how it influences local SEO, but just here's some statistics here of just how it just influences the entire customer journey. So that awareness stage, as people are looking for business like yours, 61% of buyers will use those reviews to learn about new products and businesses. 84% of consumers will trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. So as they're considering buying that product, that kind of the voice of the masses plays almost more of a critical role now than even personal recommendations do. And then 90% of consumers say online reviews have impact on their purchase decisions. And you just got to think about how you shop and how you decide who you're going to do business with. Take Amazon, for example. I think for many of us that shop online for things on Amazon or other places, that's how we filter out products, is we look for whoever has the best star rating with the most reviews. That's really bled down into local businesses with searches now as well. We do it with our restaurants, with our dentists, and people are doing it with their furniture stores as well. So how do you get then hundreds of reviews? And it used to be, even a year ago or 2 years ago, if you had 100 reviews, you're in pretty good shape. But it's just not the case anymore. As reviews have become more and more prevalent, like, you have to be able to get hundreds of reviews consistently. And it's not enough to have 70 reviews, and it's not even really enough to have 100 reviews today. People are looking for consistency and a high quantity of quality reviews coming in over time. So you need to set yourself up to be able to take advantage of your customer base and generate hundreds of these reviews. If you're like many of the businesses we work with, what ends up happening is it's typically the negative people who are the loudest online. And 95% of your customers are really happy. It's those 5% that had a bad experience for whatever reason, even if it's no fault of your own. They're the ones who want to get on and blast you. So really the goal is to take advantage of that 95% or more of your happy customer base, the ones that love you. And you know they love you. A lot of you are probably doing even internal surveys, and so you know there's great feedback there. But then translating those people to go to rave about you online so that can bring in new customers. So step number one is just determining the right timing of the invitation. In your specific industry, what we found is that getting a review post-purchase is almost always the most effective time for a couple of different reasons. So you have obviously some clear breaks, I mean, time of purchase and then the time the furniture is actually delivered or in the home. And what ends up happening if you wait too long and things get delivered, or you have that kind of that time that goes by, so it's less top of mind. Also, the review content typically ends up being about the delivery. There's a lot that can happen right between time of purchase and the time that's actually in the home. So what we found is not only do you generate a much higher response rate and conversion rate by doing it time post sale, but the content is also more along the lines of what you want to do to draw new customers into your business. So it's about the salesperson being great. It's about the quality of the products or the selection of the products, the cleanliness of the showroom floor. And those are all things that other consumers are looking for. Still great to get feedback, kind of soup to nuts post-delivery. But when it comes to the actual review generation, after doing this with thousands of furniture stores, your highest conversion rate is going to be post-sale. Step number 2 is just eliminating barriers. So this is kind of a 2-step thing. So there's eliminating barriers, obviously, for your customers. You want to make that review process as simple as possible, because while reviews are really important and really prevalent, like it's not that easy to go leave a review. It's definitely easy to read them, but not very easy to leave them. So you want to create kind of a frictionless process for that customer to leave the review. The other side is you want to make it as easy for you to be able to send out these solicited review invitations. You can do this through integrations with your POS system, just making it simple on your salespeople. And look, I am a salesperson and I work with salespeople. I know every extra step you ask them to do can sometimes seem like the end of the world. So eliminating barriers on your side as well is critical. Again, with Podium, what we found with our clients is that by integrating into your common POS systems, by kind of living within that ecosystem that your salespeople are already living in, we can many times kind of eliminate a lot of the barriers that would happen internally for you to be asking for these reviews. Step number 3, even if it is through an automation, you still want to set the expectation for the review. So the very most successful clients of ours that are generating a ton of reviews are the ones that do tee it up. So if I'm a sales guy, I'm one of your reps on your floors, and I just spent some time with a customer, we found that perfect living room set for them, and we built some rapport there. That conversation can be really easy as we're wrapping up the sale. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, so glad we got taken care of. I'm going to work on getting delivery and things scheduled. We'd love some feedback just on how we did today. I'm going to send you a quick text message so that you can do it. So just letting them know when they'll receive the invite, how they're going to receive it. Is it going to be via text, email, other ways that you could generate reviews? And then it's also kind of nice to just let them know why it's important to respond. Like, hey, look, we're always trying to get better as a business. We'd love your honest feedback. Or, those reviews are really helpful for us. If we were able to take care of you, hopefully you have something nice to say about us. So just setting up those 3 things, just when they're going to receive it, how they're going to receive it, and just kind of the importance of the review. Most of your customers, especially your happy customers, they like that type of thing. They like to be able to feel like they're helping and participating in that. So again, setting up the expectation for review is number 3. Number 4, you do want to target the right review sites. While you want to build a balanced presence across the different sites or review sites that matter to your business, there are sites that just matter a lot more than others. At Podium, we always recommend focusing on the sites that have users and where people are looking for your business. For SEO, Google reigns supreme. By far, it's not even close. Google is typically where most of our furniture retailers are trying to drive reviews, and Facebook is a good second to Google with the overall recognition and just the amount of investment that Facebook is putting into their reviews right now for local business. It's a good place to be. You can diversify that across, Yellow Pages or some of these other review sites, Better Business Bureau if you're on there, Consumer Affairs. What we tend to tell people to avoid is doing micro sites. So there's a lot of businesses that are out there that will kind of tout that they can get you hundreds or thousands of reviews. And what they're doing is generating reviews to their own site for the most part. And so if I'm generating reviews to, 5starreviews.com, that's nice because you get the feedback, but it doesn't really affect your SEO the same way, your local SEO the same way that a Google review would be. And then also you just got to put yourself in your consumer's shoes. Like, while you may be generating a ton of reviews to this micro site or whatever the company is, .com, no one starts their searches there, and it just doesn't carry near as much weight. So really focus on the sites that matter most to your business. Again, in your industry, Google and Facebook by far are the two that we would recommend focusing on. Step number 5, I'll breeze over this one because this is just something that I'm sure you're all doing, and it's kind of straightforward, but just deliver high customer service. Like, if you want great reviews, then just really fight to earn those reviews. One thing that we don't do as a business is we don't AstroTurf or gate reviews, so we're not sending bad reviews one place and good reviews another place. We just overall believe that, like, you should be providing a great customer experience, and if you're not, then there's some great things you can learn from your reviews to actually make that business better. Quick story on this: I work with a fairly large retailer who's got 7 or 8 locations, and all of their locations, started using Podium, got really high on their star rating, 4.8, 4.9, hundreds of reviews. And there was one location that was generating the amount of reviews, but it was hovering around a 4.1. And for months, the manager would call me and say, "Hey man, what's up? Like, it's not working." And but what we're able to find with that data is that location was probably a 4.1 business. Like, there were some things they needed to clean up internally. And so finally I got a call back from that manager that basically said, "Hey, you know what, Nick, like, there were some things that we found because of the content of the reviews that we can fix so that we can be a 4.8, 4.9 business." And so these reviews, not only do they do great things to drive new business into your store and to tell your story online, but you can use them for valuable insights to your business and really find out why your 5-star customers are 5-star customers and why your 3-star customers are 3-star customers, so that you can fix that. Step number 6, we recommend inviting via text. Just like you, I have literally dozens and dozens of unread emails right now in my inbox. I try to get to them as quick as I can, but generally the open rate is much lower. I get an email from every business I've ever been to, and so a lot of those just get erased before I even start, or before I even read it. Where in contrast, like, I have 0 unread text messages, just like probably you don't as well, and the open rate is 99%. Even more telling is 90% of those are opened within the first 3 minutes. So at the very least, someone is reading that invitation, someone's looking at it, and your chances of it, or conversion rate, is much, much higher via text than it would be through email or other means of soliciting reviews. Step number 7, we recommend using an online review management tool. Look, you're running a business, you got a ton of things that you are doing. Your salespeople have a ton of things that they're required to do to lock up that business. Using an online management tool will help you not only streamline that process of soliciting for reviews and simplifying, and like we talked about, removing barriers internally. It will make it easier for your customers as well, and give you some really good visibility into what people are saying about you online, so that you can start using this to not only better your business, but to drive new business into your store, and to really just supplement even your traditional marketing efforts. So if you find one that fits you, obviously we'd recommend Podium, but find one that fits your business and make your life easier. Technology just allows you to do that, so take advantage of it. With that, we'll wrap things up. If you do have interest in finding more about what we do, there's a promo code at the bottom. You can reach out to us in a couple different ways. Our website is podium.com, so just PODIUM.com. Feel free to email me directly. I love hearing from potential customers, people in your industry. Been very fortunate to kind of work in your industry the last 2 or 3 years, and attending the various markets and getting to know a lot of the key players here. So I love hearing from you. This is Nick. You can reach out to me at nick@podium.com. So again, it's just NICK@podium.com. I would love to hear your questions or your thoughts or whatever else. Just love communicating with y'all. With that, we'll just open it up to Q&A and wrap things up for you.
All right, thanks, Nick. All right, we're now going to open up the webinar for questions. If you have not already submitted your questions, you can do so by inputting them on the panel on the right-hand side of your screen. And it looks like the first question we have here is, what should I do if I receive a negative review?
Yeah, we hear this one a lot. Pretty common, right? And it doesn't matter how good you are as a business. There's really no business that is immune to a 1-star or a negative review. And there's a couple steps you can take. So let me kind of highlight some of the big ones here. One, you want to take emotion out of it. Typically, you don't want the person that review's about to be the one to respond. So you just need to be able to take emotion out of that response, knowing that it's public. Two, you just got to keep in mind that when you do respond, you're really not responding necessarily to that person, but you're responding to everybody who's going to read that response. So those responses on Google and Facebook, those are public, right? So you're not necessarily, again, talking directly to that person. You want to respond in a way that as everyone else is reading it, that's what you want them to see. Typically, a good way to respond is just simply acknowledging the issue, apologizing, even if it's not your fault, and then trying to move that conversation offline. So something along the lines of, we're so sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, that you had that experience. We'd love to make sure this is taken care of for you. Please call us at this phone number and we'll make sure it's set right. Or something along those lines. I mean, you have to just learn that you just got to take the high road. You have to make sure that people know that, look, even if there was an issue, you're willing to fix it. And again, a lot of these may or may not be your fault. You may not even recognize them as a customer, but always take the high road and add those responses. Why we're talking about responding to reviews, let me add one thing. Responding to your reviews are a great way to build SEO as well. Google is looking to see if a business is active and responding. It's adding content to those reviews, and that's something you have control over, that whatever that content is. So if there's like keywords you're wanting to use, or if you're really trying to push a certain topic or subject, you have control of those responses. So responding to reviews, we'd recommend every negative review gets a response and as quickly as possible. Using Podium, for example, we can notify you when those reviews come in through push notifications or emails, so you can respond immediately. But if you have the bandwidth, just responding to reviews in general, positive or negative, can be great for your SEO.
All right, great. All right, the next question we have here is, which review sites should I be focusing getting reviews on?
Yeah, we talked, it's a good question. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Just, we recommend the sites where people are looking for your business. Google and Facebook by far carry the most weight. Google for SEO, definitely. Even, some interesting things we didn't even talk about here, but about almost 80%, over 70% of people, even if they are going to your website, or if they have every intention of going to your website, maybe they saw your commercial or your billboard, or you send out a mailer, so they want to get to your website, they will still Google search you to get to your website. So rather than just typing in nickmillerfurniture.com, they will type in Nick Miller Furniture into their search bar with every intention of getting to my site. So it's a crazy statistic. So even at the very least, even if it's not just the initial search of Google or like searching generally for someone to do business with in your industry, even if they're trying to get to your site, they're still going to see those Google reviews. So Google by far, again, in your industry, we found carries the most weight SEO value and just the most eyeballs that are going to be on it. Facebook, again, is also really trying to make a push for their review site and just for local businesses in general, and so that's a great place for recognition as well.
Great. All right, next question. Can Podium integrate with our existing POS or CRM software?
Yes, Podium can. So Podium has a relationship and a partnership with basically every major POS system in the furniture industry, as well as a ton of different CRMs. So almost always we can integrate through a partnership that's already been created and established, so kind of an out-of-the-box integration. Some of just off the top of my head, you have your Storis, Furniture Wizard, Profit Systems, Myriad. So those types of systems, yes, absolutely. Even if it's a custom POS system or other systems that you have in place that's maybe more proprietary, we have a very flexible API. And again, it's important for us. We understand the importance of kind of playing within the ecosystem that you've already created. So there's a lot of ways that we can kind of streamline those processes and integrate for you.
All right, great. Another question we got here is, as a B2B manufacturer with very limited interaction with consumers, what are the best practices to generate reviews for our brand?
Yeah, that's awesome. I love this question. It's a great question. So the more obvious thing that we've been talking about is kind of local businesses and kind of geared towards the retailer. As a manufacturer, you still have a great opportunity because you have a lot of people that love you, and reviews are still really, really important. For a couple different reasons. Maybe not in the same way that it is for a retailer as far as driving new traffic into your doors. But it is important as you're going out and telling your story to your customers, who are the retailers, that you're taking care of the end consumer, that your product is sound. I know for a lot of the kind of manufacturer B2B type companies I work with in your industry and others, like that's a big sticking point, right? If I'm a sales guy and I'm trying to convince this retailer to carry my brand, and that retailer looks at my reviews and they're all crappy, like I got to then sell around that, and I'm trying to sell against what my customers are kind of saying about me. So it still is very important. We've been able to do this in a couple of different ways for our B2B manufacturing type customers through working with the retailers to reach out to the individual consumers. Oftentimes it's not like post-purchase, but through customer service calls, through other interactions that you may have with the end consumer. And then you also can have an opportunity to reach out to your customers as a B2B manufacturer. So that would be the retailers. There's a lot of people that interact with you and a lot of contacts that you still have in your database that would love to rave about you. So while it's not, you're maybe not sending out the timing and kind of the method and of sending out those review invitations, it's honestly not that different. And we've been able to work with some great manufacturers to kind of boost up their reviews. Just not quite the same way as a retailer, but still very important as you're kind of telling your brand story.
All right, great. This looks like the last question that we have here. What's the best way to ask customers for reviews when selling strictly online? Should the review go only to my website or to Google listing?
Yeah, there's a couple of things you can do. So when if you're selling strictly online, you're an e-commerce business, there's a few types of reviews that you're going to really care about. Now, today's webinar was really focused on local SEO, which is more important to kind of a brick and mortar presence. For e-commerce, those reviews are still very critical, more probably on the product side than on the brand side. So those product reviews become really important for an e-commerce business. I do have some e-commerce companies that still really care about their Google and their Facebook and kind of the brand level review sites. What we see most commonly is setting up an API. So after purchase, you get a kind of confirmation email. Through that email or through that kind of sign up process or that purchase process, you're typically getting their information. Through that email, you can let them know that they'll be getting a review invitation. So there's ways you can set it up even though you don't have a face-to-face interaction. Again, from an strictly e-commerce standpoint, product reviews is kind of where we see most of the focus. There's still a lot that focus on those brand level reviews. So it's honestly not that different. You try to time it as close to purchase as you can for those brand level reviews, and you'll still see a very high response rate. But happy to talk. Whoever asked that question, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my email is nick@podium.com, and we can discuss that in more detail. And again, as this kind of conversation today was more geared towards local SEO for brick and mortar.
All right, it looks like the end of our questions for today. This will conclude today's webinar. Nick and John, I want to thank you for the great insights you provided today, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on today's webinar.
Thank you. We're really happy to be with you guys today, and hopefully that was helpful, and look forward to talking to you again.
Great.